Hi, I'm Caroline from Ellison Counselling in Fleet, Hampshire, and today I want to talk a little bit about what is relationship therapy, couples therapy, marriage therapy, essentially their therapy for a couple. And it is where both of you will come into the therapy space and sit and talk about your relationship, work out if there are any roadblocks, how to navigate through them. If you're in a relationship, a marriage, for example, where your life started very close, you got married, and then circumstances of life came along, often children, careers, etc., and you then find yourself on different paths. Sometimes there's third parties involved, infidelities, and all sorts of things can happen within a relationship. But if you find yourself in a spot where your relationship just has ceased to function, but you don't want to lose your other half, then coming into a relationship therapy session, a marriage therapy session, it's that safe, unjudgmental space where sitting with a therapist allows you to talk about some of those subjects that sometimes you might feel vulnerable in, or too vulnerable in, or unsafe to talk about for whatever reasons. And sitting in the space with the therapist, it just provides that third party sort of space for the therapist, to look at your relationship and often to acknowledge different ways of communication, different ways of interpreting what the partner's saying, understanding a myriad of different things. It's really quite difficult for me in this short video to explain exactly how relationship therapy works, but it does work. And it doesn't mean that you come to relationship therapy and everything will be fixed. That's entirely up to you as a couple. What it does mean is if you're coming into relationship therapy, you're choosing to create change in the way that you're navigating your relationship. And that change hopefully will bring about whatever your goal is. As a therapist, when you come into relationship therapy with me, I will explain to you that my client is the relationship, and then you two are part of that relationship. And essentially that means that I will be looking at how the relationship is, the health of the relationship, and how you and your partner show up in that relationship and support you in that process. I thoroughly recommend couples therapy. It really is an invaluable thing that you can do for your relationship if you find yourself in crisis, whatever that crisis looks like. But I would equally recommend that if your relationship feels like it's heading towards a crisis, what would it be like if you were to put on the brakes of that crisis and come to therapy before it gets to that point? Often some of the issues that show up in the therapy space seem so much greater than they actually are. And one therapy session can often ground a couple into a place of change where they can acknowledge a difference, and then the work starts, and then they're able to start to rupture, repair. And that's what relationship therapy can offer. I hope that this helps, and I invite you to get in touch with me if you are looking for couples therapy, and I will endeavour to support you as best as I possibly can. Thank you so much for listening, and you take lots of care. Bye-bye.